This is VOA's International Edition. I'm Steve Miller. Top finance officials from the Group of Seven are warning that cryptocurrencies like Facebook's Libra should not come into use before serious regulatory and systematic concerns are addressed. The chairman's concluding summary for the G7 finance meeting in Chantilly, France, says the officials agree that so-called stable coins, cryptocurrencies pegged to real currencies, will have to meet, quote, the highest standards of financial regulation to prevent money laundering or threats to the stability of the banking and financial system. The statement says finance ministers agree that those concerns must be addressed before such projects can be implemented. Now, to learn more about cryptocurrency concerns, I spoke with John Sudanoff, assistant professor of finance at Villanova University here in the United States.
I think we need to separate the technology a little bit, because banks are starting to, and other financial services firms are adopting Bitcoin-based technologies, every day. So Bitcoin, the blockchain and the technology surrounding Bitcoin is exceptionally valuable, and I think that's one of the things that's going to maybe be kind of ever present going forward, is the increasing reliance and use of blockchain technology that was pioneered by the Bitcoin ecosystem. So let's kind of separate that just a bit. But there is the potential for underground kind of transactions and illicit purchases with Bitcoin. But there's also, if I have a brick of US $100 bills, that's potentially just as anonymous as me making an online transaction with Bitcoin. See in the news these photos of like when the Mexican government or whoever breaks up a giant drug cartel, you see like these just stacks and stacks of $100 bills sometimes, that are used in this type of activity. So I wouldn't necessarily say that Bitcoin is revolutionary in the sense that it's going to make criminal life so different in that way.
Maybe not, but maybe not different. But does it make it easier because you have these decentralized wallets and essentially what I understand to be more or less peer-to-peer transactions rather than going through financial institutions?
Yeah. So there is the sense that if I need to get cash, I would probably need to go to a bank to do it, or find some way to get it in the first place. In this case, if I can buy Bitcoin. It might be a little easier in that sense that I don't have an institution in the middle. If I have, it's more and more where countries like South Korea, United States, if you're going to buy Bitcoin through Coinbase in the United States, there's know your client rules here, where for my own Bitcoin wallet and for my own account, not my wallet, but my account at Coinbase, to buy Bitcoin, I had to send them my driver's license and verify my identity. So if you, in certain countries and in certain ways, less and less anonymity if you're kind of going through the mainstream method.
What about some of the inherent risks in using some of this technology? Because if you take a look at some of the coin depositories, specifically in South Korea, where it's been alleged that North Korea has hacked in and taken cryptocurrency out of that. So, you put your money in a U.S. bank, it's federally insured should something happen, and you can get your money back. But if you have Bitcoin, if you have one of these other coins and it's in a wallet and it's get hacked, you're out.
So you live by the sword and you die by the sword in some ways. Bitcoin people who are very pro-Bitcoin talk about how great it is that there's no Fed, but there's also no FDIC, which means there's no insurance, which is exactly correct. It's up to the exchanges to do something to protect you. So if I've got, you're talking about the big hacks that have gone on. These are exchanges who, in some cases, have been careless about how they're storing the currency. If you store the currency in a cold storage, so to speak, where it's offline, if I have it on a hard drive that's not connected to the internet, you're not going to hack that and take that currency unless you physically have possession of the hard drive. But if I've got stuff in a hot wallet that's online, then yeah, somebody can hack in and take it.
And that was John Sudinov, Assistant Professor of Finance at Villanova University. Facebook has proposed